Welcome back to Beer Brackets, everybody. It is time. It is time for the ultimate beer, the crowned ultimate beer, Guinness Draught, to defend its crown against the latest challenger, the latest beer to secure that perfect beer rating, the Erdinger Dunkel. Dude, this is going to be a battle for the ages, man. We have the Erdinger dark wheat beer that we gave a perfect score to, such a delicious, full-bodied, easy drinking beer against the classic, the Juggernaut, one of our favorite beers, of course, been made the Perfect Beer Hall of Fame, but the Guinness Draught. Friend, early predictions, do you have any idea where this is going to go?
You know, I've learned from these battles we've been doing that it's unpredictable. You never know.
It's so unpredictable. And you're Mr. Guinness too, so I would have thought you'd be like, no, Guinness is taking it right off the bat, but you never know. You never know. These beers are a little bit more comparable than some other versus battles we've done. Obviously, they're different styles. One is a nitro-infused stout. One is a dark wheat beer. But they do have some similar characteristics, so there might be some parallels there when it comes to the aromas, when it comes to the taste, so on and so forth. So it's going to be interesting to see how they fare in battle against each other. Germany versus Ireland here. Sounds like a good old rugby match.
Right?
We don't need to say much more. If you want to know the histories of these beers, put links to the individual reviews down below. I think we need to get right into the battle, man. See which one is superior.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's pour them out. Whoa. I think I might have dropped this pack of Guinness. This is the second can I've opened from this one that just exploded and overflowed. And the Erdinger Dunkel. I haven't had this one since we reviewed it and gave it a perfect score. There was a Dunkel shortage here for a little while.
Really?
We wanted to film this one a little bit earlier than we did, but I couldn't find any Dunkels anywhere.
I'm happy you were able to find it, my friend. That's good. The beer gods are looking over us.
Oh my God. You know, we haven't officially added that new category for listening to the beers, but I want to see what they're saying.
That's the thing, man. Like they are telling you a story from far, far away.
It's a beautiful story. Right off the bat, you see like these Erdinger beers obviously are bottle fermented. So there's secondary fermentation that happens in the bottle, which creates all this extra CO2 and all this extra carbonation. So you see just how carbonated that beer is. And it's the same with all these Erdinger beers. It's like half head. Even as carefully as you pour it out, there's no way of avoiding it. Very champagne-like, which is interesting in contrast to the creaminess of the Guinness. But I digress. This is details for the battle. My friend, let's get right into it. Let me know, what do you think? Double fist these beers. Aroma cheers.
Aroma cheers.
We've got such a tough task ahead of us. Ooh.
So
let me know what you think.
Right off the bat, like, I think this is the closest in terms of similarities, aroma-wise, that we've had so far in this ultimate beer battle.
I don't know where this is going to go.
The roasted character is a little bit on both. The Guinness has a little bit more of the dark chocolate, espresso. I would also add the hops
to even these out a bit.
A little bit more present on Guinness that they are on the Dunkel. On the Dunkel, I get more of the banana Chloe notes, typical of Weiss beer. It's a tough one, but I think that I'm gonna stick with Guinness so far because not because I don't like the Dunkel, but if I have to pick between the two. That slight hop presence for me brings in a little bit more of interest in getting into the glass. What do you think, my friend?
Interesting that for you it's the hops. For me, it's actually just like the dark roasted malts on the Guinness that actually are much more prominent and much more delicious, man, in terms of an aroma. They're a lot stronger. I mean, the Dunkel, it does have similar aromas to it, but they're just a little bit more muted, which I think is what made it interesting for a dark wheat beer like that. The fact that all these different characteristics were muted, which makes it a really easy drinking, refreshing beer for what it is. Oh, but I got to go with Guinness. It's that iconic roasted barley is just, it can't be denied, my friend. Combined with like a little bit of coffee, maybe a little bit of chocolate. Guinness takes a point for me too, man. So the reigning defending Ultimate Beer is up 2-0 to start with. But now we get down to the taste. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, man. Guinness.
Every time we do these episodes and Guinness is involved, I could almost just sit back and just start drinking it. It's like having a pint of Guinness.
And that
My
says
mind's like,
something,
don't stop.
right?
Don't stop. Finish that Guinness. Guinness is meant to be finished.
Ooh, that's again, like they are obviously different, but compared to all the other ones that we've battled against each other, they have similarities. That dark roast character is on both, more on the Guinness. Surprisingly enough, the creaminess on the Dunkel, it's very, very close to the creaminess of the Guinness. Like compared to other beers that we've had, like it has like those micro bubbles, like the champagne-like bubbles.
So micro.
Are able to recreate almost that nitrogen effect, like, but not quite. But without getting into the mouthfeel, taste-wise, like you said, on the palate, to me, the roastiness of the Guinness comes across a little bit more in a more almost like refreshing way, like a slight bitterness that really makes it very enjoyable. So I'm going to stick with Guinness so far.
3-0 for the Guinness so far. You know what? They're so similar in a lot of ways that drinking them one after another, it kind of muddles it a little bit. It makes it sort of hard to pick characteristics from one or the other. What I like about the Erdinger, being a wheat beer, it does have that creaminess, like you said, that you associate with other wheat beers. That's the mouthfeel. It's not the taste, but it transports the taste.
It feeds into it.
It does. It's a conduit for the taste. It's just a little bit more muted. I mean, it has a lot of the same things. There's a lot of parallels, but I'm going to go with Guinness as well. It's 4-0 for the Guinness. It's just those dark roasted malts, man. So iconic, but just can't be denied. So well balanced, strong enough that it's obviously very easy to pick out once you're drinking it, but not overpowering in any way, just super balanced. So Guinness is 4-0 lead, my friend, going to the mouthfeel. Now this is interesting because Guinness has the iconic mouthfeel from the widget, and the Erdinger, a wheat beer, bottle fermented mouthfeel. Which one takes it for you?
This is a tricky one because they are, I wouldn't say so close, but they're very close.
They're very close.
They're very close.
Yeah.
But this is how I experience them. And, you know, everyone might find it differently. But it almost gets down to how small the bubbles are. I don't know if that makes sense. But
we're talking about bubbles now. But bubble analysis.
Yes. But it's the best descriptor I have because with the Erdinger, like they are so fine and but you can still almost like feel them on your tongue popping, and they leave a little bit of tinglingness in the center of your tongue. It's almost creamy as the Guinness is, but it has a little bit of presence. The Guinness, the bubbles are so fine that your palate is almost not able to distinguish them. And when it comes down to it, it almost like elevates the beer completely, and it leaves you with this sense of refreshment on your palate, which is undescribable unless you've tried it. Like it's really unique. So because of that, I'm gonna still stick with the Guinness. Like it's really, it comes down to splitting hairs here. Like they're so close, but if I have to analyze, and I'm trying to, that's where my guts are going with.
Unfortunately, I don't think, and with these ultimate beer battles, this might become a problem when we're trying to dethrone Guinness. I can't imagine a beer that's going to beat it for mouthfeel. The mouthfeel of Guinness is just so unique, and it's so iconic, and it's so recognized, and it's just everything that this beer is. I mean, the mouthfeel is probably one of the most important aspects of the beer. And don't get me wrong, the Erdinger Dunkel has a fantastic mouthfeel. You have the creaminess, like I said, the starchiness that you get off a wheat beer that lends to that creaminess is there, combined with the bottle fermentation that gives it that extra insane amount of carbonations. It's beautiful. I can't not give the point to Guinness. It's 6-0 at this point because it's too iconic. Maybe some people have the criticism of Guinness where, the mouthfeel isn't necessarily just from the beer, it's from the nitrogen infusion. But that is part of it.
It is.
That is part of this drink that you get out of this wonderful can here.
It is.
That is part of it. And so it has to be Guinness. So it's got quite the lead, man. 6-0 at this point. I think even if Erdinger sweeps the next two categories, I think Guinness is holding its crown at this point. But hey, just for competition's sake,
Yes.
let's see how the last two categories do here, man. So finish. Which one are you giving it to?
I find those incredibly similar compared to the previous battles that we've had because they have that roasted character that comes across. But once again, and I'm going to agree here on the finish on the fact that the roastiness and the dark chocolate espresso-like notes are a little bit more prominent on the Guinness. For me, that's interesting. Some other people might like the Erdinger because they kind of like fade away a little quicker. You know, it's when it comes down to that, I still like the way that Guinness is saying goodbye. I say that all the time. Like it's just like gentle, very subtle, but it's there. So you can definitely tell that those characteristics are there and they're just like fading away in the distance. And to me, that is very difficult to recreate. So it's the point is going to have to go with Guinness, my friend. What do you think?
It's like the chocolate in the distance.
Yes.
It's just fading away. Fading away in the distance. A callback to a past Beer Brackets episode if you haven't seen. Yeah, you know what? I know Guinness has already taken this matchup, but I'm going to give the point to Guinness as well on the finish. It's unmatched in that sense. How that roasted malt combined with like the espresso, the chocolate, just are so perfectly balanced, and the mouthfeel carries it through into the finish too, because that creaminess just keeps the flavors present on your palate for a good 30 seconds, 40 seconds after you take a sip. And it's just so unique and so iconic to what this beer is. I don't know if you guys can tell, we're big fans of Guinness. Not ashamed of it. We are massive fans of Guinness. As an overall beer experience, I think it's pretty obvious at this point which way it's going to go, right?
I feel bad because I
know.
Let me close on a positive note here.
Please do. Please. The Erdinger Dunkel needs a positive to close out here.
Let's close on a positive note.
It just got TKO'd in the middle of the mat here, and it needs some help.
So I'm going to go as far as to say that in the scenario where I only get to pick a beer and Guinness happens to be not an option, I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm probably going to pick Erdinger Dunkel. Because it's a delicious beer and it actually has amazing characteristics.
It does.
However, if Guinness is an option, I'm going to go with Guinness. Sorry.
There you have it, everyone. Guinness keeps its crown. You got that little plastic crown there?
Mm-hmm.
Still going? Is it on the can?
It's not yet. I was waiting for the moment.
Yeah. Crown that beer. Look at that. Look how beautiful that crown is. Only at Beer Brackets do you get quality like that crown. Look at that. That is budget right there. Thank you for joining us, everybody, for another versus battle. Guinness successfully defends its ultimate beer title. What this means is that Guinness is going to be defending its perfect beer championship against Innocent Gun Irish Whiskey Cask. And that is going to be a matchup that I'm excited for. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Don't forget to close your beer brackets. Open with a Guinness, close with a Dunkel, or just open and close with a Guinness. Why not?
Whatever you like.
Let us know down below, what do you think? Have you had the Dunkel before? Do you think it's superior? What do you think about Guinness? Does it deserve to have held on to this ultimate beer title for as long as it have? We would love to hear from you. Cheers, everybody.
And don't forget to close your beer brackets.
We're going to go finish these beers. It's a tough life. It's a tough life.